What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Rams Brothers. I'm your host, Dean, and I'm joined, as always, by my brother and the other great host of this show, Nick. And the preseason is here. Matthew Stafford is back at practice. Stetson Bennett looks like a real professional NFL quarterback. But before we jump into any more details surrounding Matthew Stafford, Stetson Bennett, or the entirety of the roster as we head into week 3 of the NFL preseason, first and most importantly, Nick, my good brother, how are you?
I'm great. There's no guest this week, so I get to talk right away, which is great for those Nick heads out there that are like, when's Nick going to start talking? Now. No, things are good. Summer's coming to an end. I'm so ready for football to be back. Doing this show 2 times a week with you is my favorite. One of my favorite things about this time of year. And Rams football, we get to talk about it. It's all right here on this channel, and we're stoked.
Good reminder, Nick. I'm glad you reminded me to put the graphic in. Like and subscribe, guys. Just a reminder. If you're new to the channel, last week we had Kevin Demoff on. We've had Jordan Rodrigue on. We're just trying to bring you guys all the latest news and notes as it relates to the Los Angeles Rams from the perspective of your 2 favorite brothers. So we greatly appreciate you guys liking, subscribing, enjoying the channel and all the new stuff that we're rolling out as of this year. So this is the news as it broke today. It seemed like over the past couple of days, the Matthew Stafford news was going in the wrong direction. As of Saturday, the preseason news was that a Rams spokesperson declined to talk to the media about the status of Matthew Stafford's back, which I think got a lot of people incredibly scared to the point where, people were looking at Kirk Cousins as a potential option. Obviously the connection with Sean McVey. Can we rally behind Jimmy G and play good football? Is Stetson Bennett good enough to be the future at the position? What are they going to do in the draft next year? So many questions as the Matthew Stafford saga kind of continues to evolve over the last couple of years. And even the contractual stuff, that's secondary to his health and his status on the field. So it's all just really interesting as it's been breaking. But as you're seeing in real time, the Rams are posting videos of Matthew Stafford back at practice. He did all the one-on-one drills. He participated in 11-on-11. He's throwing passes to Puka Nacua and to Devontae Adams. So it looks like he's back and ready to go for now. Sean McVey did mention that it's going to be a day-to-day thing. So there's a little bit of a concern to where if he could wake up one morning, doesn't feel good, you have to see how he responds to the hits that he would take in week 1, just to see how he feels after the game as the season opens. But we still got 3 weeks. We still got some time. But Nick, what's your overall opinion on this so far?
It's day-to-day, but I think for the fan base as a whole, the fact that he's out there practicing at all and throwing the ball, and we're seeing videos of him connecting with Devontae Adams and Puka, that is huge for us because you kind of, during the offseason, kind of let your head spin. And they're, the Rams, they're a great organization. One thing that they're not fantastic at is being fully transparent about what's going on with injuries and whatnot through the course of the offseason, through the course of the regular season. And just to see him out there, I think, puts a lot of us at ease. I wasn't scared just because it's the same kind of circus every year with something like this. And, it's just like by the week 1, it seems like everything kind of is in place and it's really nothing to worry about. But I feel like this year they really let it go until, a very late point of the offseason for us not to be scared and just a little reassurance. And I know they throw it in there. Like, I know McVey was like, look, if it was week 1, he would be playing. And that definitely put us at ease. But to see him out there throwing the ball, I think is really the only thing that would have put us completely at ease. And now, I don't have to text you and Dad pictures of Kirk Cousins saying potential savior, ? Kind of as a joke, but kind of serious at the same time. And now we can just move on from this, be happy that we have Matthew Stafford, and then probably a top 3, top 2 backup in Jimmy Garoppolo. God forbid something does happen.
I just don't know if it's time to fully exhale yet. That's what I was hoping to hear today. Maybe we all need to get in the immortal chamber and, go through Matthew Stafford's rehabilitation process to feel like we can feel that he's going to be on the field in week 1. He's going to be fully healthy throughout the entirety of the season. It's just a little bit scary. They did give a positive update on Alaric Jackson's status, the fact that he's been practicing, he feels healthy, he looks healthy. So at least his blind side is going to be protected if he is rolled out there in week 1. But yeah, I don't know if it's like they said, it's day-to-day, week-to-week at this point. So a back injury, an epidural directly into your spine, a little bit concerning, but I don't know. You can't kill Matthew Stafford. I think that's the biggest thing. He takes every single hit. He's had every single injury humanly possible that a quarterback can have. And he's resilient, and he signed a contract to go play winning football in Los Angeles this season. So I think he's going to try his best to make that happen.
Yeah, about 100%. I think this is probably, if not his swan song, the penultimate swan song, because it does feel like this is, we are reaching the end of the Matthew Stafford chapter as a Ram. Maybe they don't want to do this again next year, and this is his last season with the team, but he goes to, Pittsburgh or something next year and tries to figure it out there. But it is a little scary that every year we kind of like have to roll this out and do this and be like, is he healthy? I mean, he is one of the oldest quarterbacks left in the league. So it's a little scary, but I mean, like you said, I have no doubt that Matthew Stafford's going to go out there and play, winning football. It kind of sucks that week one is one of the more formidable defenses in the entire league with Houston. So, I mean, they're going to be coming at him hard, and I wonder if they are legitimately thinking with that in mind, and if it's more in their best interest to throw out Jimmy G week one and then, take it from there after that. I mean, week three.
Yeah, no, I don't know. If he's going to play
Philly, which is another really good defense, but I think week two is Indianapolis. So that, I mean, also really good defense, but not up there with the other two.
If he's going to go, you got to go. You got to be able to test the limits of the back injury, right? That's my only fear is like if you wait, the longer you wait, the longer you're not going to know how he's going to be able to, restabilize himself after he goes through one of those really difficult games, which is the most important thing down the stretch. But like Dan Orfalowski was talking about today on the Pat McAfee show, he was like, you sacrifice some days in August so that you could play in January. This is one of the teams that expects to play 18, 19, 20, 21 games this season, right? With Matthew Stafford under center for the entirety of the time. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not the worst idea, right, to keep him as bubble wrapped as humanly possible leading up to week one. But I don't think there's going to be anything that limits him from getting on the field as soon as the season starts. I
also think, he himself will put the cart before the horse and be like, I'm playing week one. Because he understands how many games he has left in this league. So yeah. I don't think he's going to want to sit out, even if, maybe they're advised against it. I think he's going to be pushing the limits of what he can do from week to week. And, that's why it's, you can't feel 100% comfortable at all times. You can't completely exhale with a 38-year-old quarterback, but, you're sitting here in a much better situation, I think, with the backup that we have than, and with Stafford, out there right now, you're probably in a better situation than 9 or you're in the top 9, top 10 situations of quarterbacks for the entire league. I know people are already writing the Rams off because of this, and I'm just like, that's stupid.
It's too early to do it. I mean, you have to see how it all shakes out in the first couple of weeks of the season. If he's able to absorb some of the contact and you feel like he's going to be fine and he's claiming that his back is going to hold him up throughout the entirety of the season, then, it's Matthew Stafford. He's going to battle through some stuff throughout the year. It's just kind of the nature of his game. And Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua always say, I think it was Coop primarily, always used to say, Matthew Stafford isn't really himself until he's hurt, right? It's like those injuries that he sustains throughout the season, that's what he's used to playing with in November, December, January. So, it's just, age gets to you at some point. I don't want to see it happen at this very moment because it feels like the window is still very much open for this season. And then we're always going to look back and be like, well, what if Matthew Stafford wasn't hurt that season? Could they have really won the Super Bowl?
I mean, Devontae and Puka is the closest we've gotten from prime Kupp and Robert Woods. Just 1-2, a true 1A, 1B situation with two high flying receivers. And it would just be such a shame if we have to, not think about Matthew Stafford being under center with those two guys, because the entire thing, yes, we have a great young defensive core, but like every other year, look at where the money is allocated. The Rams we have Sean McVey as our head coach. They're an offensive first team. So you want to go out there and be able to just sling the ball downfield with your gunslinger. And hopefully that's what we're talking about after week one,
Yeah, that's, I think we're trending in that direction. There was my fear today was when I woke up, I was like, we're going to get a press conference, and it's going to be, just based on all the pessimism that was all over social media, Matthew Stafford's going to go get a cleanup procedure in his back, right? Like that's what I thought that the press conference news was going to be. But for the Rams account specifically to come out and say, Matthew Stafford back out of practice with the video of him walking out in full pads, and then all the beat reporters talking about how he participated in all the drills. He played 26 snaps. He did all these kind of details in 11 on 11. He looked clean. He looked like himself. Like those are all encouraging things that you just absolutely needed to hear from a peace of mind perspective if you're a Rams fan.
Right. And we're hearing him right now. Like you said, you can't fully exhale. I kind of fully exhale, to be honest with you. I feel like he wouldn't be out there right now if he wasn't going to play week 1. That's my thought process. So
this is the immediate reaction. There were prayer circles. That's how, people understand the ramifications of not having Matthew Stafford out on the field. Jimmy G, the ceiling feels like 10 wins and a wild card exit. The ceiling with Matthew Stafford is we're hosting an NFC championship game and then going to play the Super Bowl in Santa Clara. This reaction was just my personal reaction, the Kurt Warner shirtless pick, which
where's that from?
I think it goes all the way back to the pandemic, to be honest. He was trying to replicate Aaron Donald. So he did it in his own way on his personal.
He looks great there. He looks exactly like our dad, give or take 30 pounds in the stomach.
It looks like our dad if our dad was a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else happened over the weekend? I think something happened with Stetson Bennett. Nick, I've got to let you have the floor for this one because I know you're as shocked as some of the other pessimistic Rams fans as it relates to Stetson's career with the Rams.
Yeah, I'll be the first to say it. Grade A hater for me. Really what it came down to with Bennett this whole time was I felt like they reached so high with the pick. I believe it was in the 4th round, right?
It was.
Yeah. So it's the reach and then followed by them getting all jazzed up and being like, we got a quarterback of the future. He's already 25 at that point. And then he goes out there in preseason. He throws 8 interceptions. He looked like by far the worst quarterback in preseason, which just fuel to my fire. And I calls it like I sees it with quarterbacks. I was very much defending of Jared Goff when they got rid of him, and he's completely turned his career around. And with Trey Lance, when the Niners picked him up, I was like, this kid can't play. He's not going to make it as a starting quarterback. And people are like, you're way too early on this judgmental train with Trey Lance. But I was completely right. And now with Bennett turning it around and looking as great as he did, leading that final drive. One of the balls was a 50-50 air ball that luckily our guy came down with that really shouldn't give credit to him. But still, he made the throw. And then the final touchdown, it's like, all right, they maybe have 2 plays here. He was like, F it, I'm just going to get it right here. Flexes hit the camera. He looks great. I loved what I saw from him. I'm completely revoking my hater status on Bennett. I'm completely turn the other leaf. It's a less complex offense, obviously, because it's preseason and they're not showing what they want to show. But at the same time, he looked completely in control. His completion percentage was high. He had 3 touchdowns, I think, on the day, which is fantastic. One of them at the buzzer, hit him with the flex. The only thing that we haven't seen from Sean McVey is he has not been able to develop the guy. He brought Jared Goff to a level that he thought was good enough, wasn't able to take him over the top, trades him away, brings in somebody that's already a complete machine. And now seeing Stetson Bennett kind of learn under him and get to a level that is just higher and higher. Maybe he's the quarterback of the future. I really don't think so. I don't think that's how the team sees him. But seeing him developed under McVey has been, honestly, it's night and day from what we saw from the previous 2 years. So kudos to you, Stetson Bennett.
I will say, though, that the counter argument with Sean McVay not being able to develop quarterbacks are guys like John Wolford, who I saw on TV yesterday, who he developed from an undrafted player into a backup quarterback. Bryce Perkins, who was the MVP of the what league was that? It wasn't
XFL, UFL.
UFL. It was the UFL. And then you look at a guy like Stetson Bennett. It's all like these lower tier, lower draft pick, underdog type players that he takes under his wing. and does develop. He doesn't bring them to the level of a Matthew Stafford, but he does, increase their maturity, their presence in the pocket, their fundamentals. There's all like these little details of playing the position of quarterback that you need to be conscious of. And I feel like Sean McVay, just those three guys, has turned all three of them into a guy who's good enough to play the position in the league. He's one of the top, they're one of the top 90 guys in the entirety of the league. And I think, like, all things considered, based on the overall talent of those three guys and their ceilings as professional football players, McVay's gotten a lot out of them.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't think he ever got the ceiling of Jarrett. I think Ben Johnson was able to him to a point that McVay did not. I think we can agree upon that, right? And then, and I mean, Goff had a lot of growing up to do. So I think if he stuck with him, there's an argument that maybe he would have been able to get him to that point. But yeah, I mean, we should be thinking about. I mean, we talked about it with Kevin Demoff in the last episode, the future of the Rams without Matthew Stafford and what that is going to look like, and if that is trying to make a swing at a huge free agent at the time, or if it's bringing in somebody to develop. And I think all the points you just made are definite pluses to McVay, developing these guys. I would love to see him do that with somebody that is expected to be a starter in this league. And I don't think any of the three names that you mentioned are on that level.
Sure.
So, it's still, to me, it's still a question mark.
Well, yeah, you look at like a Lenora Sellers or even Arch Manning or Drew Aller, like those are guys that, like, if they take one of those three guys, over the next couple of seasons in the top 5, then Sean McVay would be tasked with developing them from top to bottom into a professional quarterback that reaches the ceiling of a Matthew Stafford or a Jared Goff. Totally get that. Totally. We haven't really seen that yet, though. We're only talking about the development of him in the players that have been within his system. So I feel like he's gotten the most out of guys like Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Matthew Stafford. Some of those lower tier guys, though, they can only reach a ceiling because their talent only allows them to go so far.
Right. I wonder if there's a world where they try to completely. I mean, like, imagine Sean McVay with a Jalen Hurts type that can pick up first downs with his legs as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a world where that would be really fun to exist in. And then again, on the same breath, I do wonder, and this is just me, speaking from my heart here and what I want in this world. If the Lakers can go out and get Luka Doncic, can the Rams not go out and get Joe Burrow? You know what I mean? Like, is that possible at all? Like, is that
that's the direction that they're gonna go in. I think they're gonna try to find somebody that has 5 to 7 years of legitimate starting quarterback experience that shakes loose a Justin Herbert, a Joe Burrow, a Kyler Murray, one of those type players. I think is going to be the approach.
Two of those.
You even say, I'm going to trade for one, right? Like I have the draft capital. I could trade you 2 first-round picks and a future third,
right?
And a player potentially for one of your top guys, which is very similar to the deal that the Rams made to get Matthew Stafford and send away Jared Goff. So,
right.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. The rest of the preseason, though, like outside of Stetson Bennett, I've been pretty intrigued just by, a handful of players, obviously people that stand out when you watch some of these games. Willie Lampkin is one. The grading for him has been really, really strong. The leverage that he's able to get in the run game and the pass game as an undersized offensive lineman, undrafted player from North Carolina. I think that's really fun. Brennan Jackson's been a guy who we've been watching. He is a LA native, and we were a big fan of the Rams taking him last year just because his familiarity with LA and his college experience. And I think he just made a lot of sense to come in as a rotational pass rusher. He had 2 early sacks on the Chargers. Dejuan Johnson had 5 pressures against the Chargers. Sean Dolick, I think the linebackers, in terms of what you're going to see amongst that whole grouping, you could probably put Troy Reader on the practice squad because you got enough talent between Spates and Landman and Shane Dolick and some of these other guys. So, I don't think you necessarily need that. The most impressive play of the entire day was the Stetson Bennett seam to Mario Williams, just that absolute bomb across the middle that Stetson delivered on a frozen rope was just an absolute dot. And then I think the running back position is really interesting because Ronnie Rivers is probably the odd man out because you're getting, Jarquez Hunter probably in the third spot, Blake Corum in that second spot, and then Cody Schrager has to be in that fourth spot just because of how well he's been playing.
Yeah, I would have liked to see more. I mean, I know that they don't want to throw out Corum that often. You got 4 carries for total of 22. I would have just liked to see a little more from him, just because it's like I would like to know where the depth of the position really lies. And I feel like everybody's kind of really stoked on Hunter right now, just because he's getting the majority of the carries. Yeah, but he like his average was only like 3.7 that game, so it's nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I want to see him behind a better quality offensive line, but still,
Sure.
I mean, you're
with some more creative run plays as well. They're not really trying to show anything.
Yeah, exactly. I think between, your receiving core, you got some really good depth there. McVey likes to prioritize that position. Your secondary, I think that the secondary has made a couple of really nice plays. I really like Tanner Ingle as depth there at safety. You got Charles Woods. You got a couple other really nice players there that are serving as pretty solid depth. So I like the roster in its entirety. That's why there's so much pressure surrounding the Matthew Stafford situation. Because if that's in place, it really feels like the sky is the limit. They're playing really sound, good quality preseason football. They're doing all the fundamentals correctly. It's not like a horrifyingly ugly brand of football to watch. It's a little boring, but it's still decent enough football for a roster.
It's 2 wins too. So it's like, they're like playing to win. They're like really showing, it feels a lot, actually, like, now that we brought it up, it feels like the UFL or like the XFL, where it's like these guys are like, it feels like they're playing for everything that they have, which is it's not the case for every single preseason team. A lot of people just feels like they're playing for roster spots sometimes. A lot of times it's just like, let's just go out there and do the motions and get back on the sideline.
Yeah, and they're doing it for a number of things, right? Like they want to put some good film on tape. They want to be able to make the roster that they're on right now. It just, and like the what's going on with Aubrey Pleasant, taking over coaching responsibilities and the camaraderie in the locker room afterwards. Like it's good momentum going into the season. So if you've got all other position groups covered and your only real concern about the quality of the season is Matthew Stafford, that's kind of the headspace that I want to be in. Like everything else is set, ready to go. Let's just focus our attention on getting Matthew Stafford healthy over the next 3 weeks. And then the sky's the limit.
Yeah, I think that's, I think that's a place where a lot of us are living right now. And I think the Stafford thing is just kind of, the biggest part. It's like in the Flintstones when they put the stake on the car and the car like tilts over. That's where we're at.
That's exactly how I feel too. It's like, and that's kind of how it's felt since that all-in season in 2021. Like you had a couple of years, the year after the 2021 Super Bowl, you obviously went in the wrong direction. But then 23, you didn't know Stafford is going to be, his contract situation. It wasn't really like a pressing thing quite yet. But you got yourself into the playoffs. You made a huge turnaround towards the back half of the season. Next season, you do the exact same thing. And now it feels like that window is wide open again. And the defense can do exactly what it is that you need them to do to win games. And same with the offense. And it's just a matter of everybody staying healthy. That's it.
They've proven that they can flip the switch and turn the surge on towards the end of the season. Why don't we start good as well? So then we don't have to, turn the surge on as hard. I mean, sure, you're going to need it no matter what, because, you're going to want to win those games down the stretch as well. But, if you can start strong, I think everybody will be saying early, okay, Rams potential 1 seed. You know what I mean? So
100%.
Let's let's do it right. You don't have a cakewalk to start the season, but I think if you can go 2-1, maybe 3-0, then sky's the limit.
Yep, I'm in the exact same headspace. Yeah, let's start off fast this season, and if it winds down to the point where they have 10 wins after 14, 15 weeks, and they just got to win a couple more games to clinch onto the division, and Matthew Stafford wants to take a seat, and Jimmy G could play, you rest him up for the playoffs. That to me is the ideal situation. Start as fast and as hot as humanly possible.
Yeah.
You can cool off towards the back half, rest some starters and find yourself in a position where you can kind of clean up the division in the final weeks and then go. Then just take off in the postseason. I think that's where they can be.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely lightens up in the middle, and then the back half gets a little easy as well because you face the Cardinals twice in the span of the last 4 weeks. So that's usually probably a win. And the Falcons are mixed in there in Seattle.
Yeah.
So, it's like it would be great if they can, just start off hot and then like kind of take not a step back, but just release the foot off the gas so you're really ready for the January football.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else that you wanted to sign us off with for today?
We got Nick's picks coming this year. They're coming back. I don't know. Should I do theme songs again? I feel like it's just so difficult to make a theme song every week. I feel like I'm like almost out of like catchy theme songs.
I don't know. We'll definitely have this. So don't worry about that. We'll still have somewhat of a theme song.
Nick's picks are coming. We got some ads coming, I think, which is great for us. Because then we make some money doing this, and appreciate you guys. I'm going to be at week 1, so I'll see you guys there. And then week 3, I think Dean and I are going to be there. So
we will be. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait. The opening of this season, there's going to be a lot of pressure. There's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about. There's going to be a lot of stuff to kind of see which direction it shakes out in. So it's going to be, I think, different from the last couple of seasons to where like you start off bad, but you still got it in you. This season, I think you start off hot and then kind of see how it goes. So
yeah, there's no reason I don't think they should start 2-0. Like realistically,
totally agree.
Beat the 2 AFC opponents in front of you, and then worry about Philly when you get there.
Yes, exactly. I'm in. We appreciate you guys. As always, go Rams, and we will talk to you again later this week.
Yeah, we'll see you later this week. Peace.
Peace.